This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. From streaming to shopping, Prime helps you get more out of your passions. So whether you're a fan of true crime or prefer a nail-biting novel from time to time, with services like Prime Video, Amazon Music, and fast free delivery, Prime makes it easy to get more out of whatever you're into or getting into. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to learn more.
Craftsman Days are here at Lowe's with big savings on the tools you need. Right now, get a free select tool when you buy the Craftsman V20 2-pack battery kit. Whether it's the backyard, the bathroom, or beyond, Craftsman has the tools to help you power through and get the project done right. Because DIYing is unpredictable, but your tools shouldn't be. Shop Craftsman at Lowe's today. Valid through 6/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
You are listening to Women's Running Stories, where exceptional women runners share inspirational stories about their running experiences. Hello, my name is Cherie Louise Turner. I'm the host and producer of this podcast, and I'm really excited that you are here because this is a special episode. If you're new to this podcast, usually the episode features one woman sharing her running journey, and this is totally different. I was fortunate enough to be able to go to the inaugural We Out Here Trail Festival. It just happened this last weekend on June 7th. It took place outside Seattle, Washington at the St. Edward's Park on an absolutely gorgeous day. And it was a really special event. So I want to give you a little bit of backstory on this. For years now, there has been discussion about the fact that the trail running space is predominantly male and white, and it needs diversification. Yet, year over year, it remains the whitest and most male-dominated sector of the running world through and through, from the media to the race directors to who shows up at the start line of events, all of it. There have been efforts made to diversify the trail scene, but they haven't been particularly effective, and change, when it has happened, has been very, very slow. So instead of continuing to wait for the system to change, two women stepped up and made the event that they have wanted to see for a long time and that they knew was possible, like today. Those two women are Alison, Mariella, Désir, and Aaliyah, Ervin. They co-directed this event, and that makes them the first two Black women to ever co-direct a trail event. And I'm going to read you what the vision for this event was, what they wrote down as their vision for what this event would be. They wrote, "We imagine a world where everyone feels welcome to find joy in the trails, free from fear or intimidation, and surrounded by a supportive community." I can tell you that that vision came to fruition 100%. So this event centered people of color. It was welcoming to all, especially those who are new to the trail world. We Out Here was set up specifically to be inviting to everybody and to be especially inviting for those who have never participated in a trail event. The course reflected this intent, and it was a loop course. The loop was about 1.9 miles, and people could sign up to complete one loop, two loops, three loops, or there was a 2-hour timed option. You were welcome to race, run, jog, hike, whatever people wanted to do or felt comfortable with, they were welcome to do that. And that wasn't just something that was said in the literature. That is exactly what happened on the day. Undoubtedly, We Out Here participation featured the largest percentage of people of color at a trail event ever, and 66% of participants were first-timers. 66%. That is huge. Not only did these women create a successful event, they created a new model for trail events. It's not often that you get to be at a history-making, groundbreaking event, and I know this is only the beginning. So I'm really excited to bring this to you. To do that, I did many on-the-spot interviews to give you a sense of what people experienced. I talked to Aaliyah and Alison, And they are actually going to kick off this episode. And then the episode is going to roll through a series of 9 short interviews with women about their experience at the We Out Here Trail Festival. Some of these women you will likely not be familiar with at all, but there are several who you likely will know who they are. And I just want to shout them out. These are women who are all very involved in the trail running scene. They are all equity advocates. They are all athletes in their own right. And yeah, they have all had a big impact on this sport. So it was very exciting to see some well-known women out there. And I did get a chance to catch up with many of them. So there was Verna Volker. She is the founder of Native Women Run. There was Carolyn Sue. She is the founder of the very popular Instagram account Diverse We Run. She's also the co-host of the Making Strides podcast with Stephanie Flippen, who was also there. These two teamed up and they actually did a live podcast the night before the event with Aaliyah, Alison, Myrna Valerio, and Kayla Jeter. And I encourage you to go find that episode. I will have a link to the Making Strides podcast in the show notes. It's a great podcast. So if you aren't already listening, I highly recommend it. So yes, Stephanie Flippen was also there. And she is in one of these interviews. She is a well-known professional racer. She's actually one of the fastest 100-milers in the country. And you will also hear from Myrna Valerio. And among many other things, Myrna is the author of the book, A Beautiful Work in Progress. And of course, I have the 2 run directors, Aaliyah Ervin. She is a coach, a fitness instructor, a community builder, and Alison Mariella Désir. She has done so much in the running industry. She is well known as being the author of the groundbreaking book, Running While Black. She has founded or co-founded many organizations in the running world, including Harlem Run, the Running Industry Diversity Coalition, among others. She is also the host of the award-winning PBS show, Out and Back with Alison Mariella Désir. So yes, you will hear from both these women to kick things off, and then rolling into these 9 short interviews to bring you a taste of what it was like, the joy that people experienced at the We Out Here Trail Festival. So let's get into it. Here to kick things off is me speaking with race co-director Aaliyah Ervin.
So here I am with Aaliyah Ervin, and you are one of the co-directors here of the We Out Here Trail Festival. Can you tell me a little bit about the impetus for this event and what your expectations were and how things have turned out?
Yeah, so the expectations were to have people who look like us be out here to represent in the trail space, to feel comfortable, to want to explore trail running outside of this event exclusively. So we want to get people in their comfort zone so they can feel comfortable taking up space in the trail outside of today.
And what are some of the comments that you're hearing from people, like as they were registering, as they were getting ready to come out here today?
So a lot of people just thanked me and Alison for putting this together. They already enjoyed it before they even crossed the start line, which is such a compliment. But I'm like, let me know how you feel about the race once you get out there. I want the constructive criticism so we can build upon this for next year and the years to come.
Yeah, so that bodes really well for this is going to continue.
Yes, because everyone's already out here smiling, having a good time. The vibes are high. And so we want to see that when people cross the finish line and get out here, enjoy the DJ, enjoy the food. And so we want to create this again in years to come for here and other places.
Yeah, that's super exciting. And I'm just curious from your personal perspective, like, what surprised or delighted you, or what's something that maybe has happened that you didn't really expect?
So I guess it's not a surprise per se, because I should know this. With my run club, community always shows up, but how much the community showed up from coast to coast, and just seeing all our friends just coming out. The volunteer support has been incredible. They all showed up here early, hands in, working as hard as they can, like this was their own event because they wanted to make sure it went successful. A lot of anxiety went to rest because I knew that I could put things in the hands of other people and they were gonna take care of it, because they are experienced trail runners, so they knew exactly what to do and how to make it represent what I wanted.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on, I mean, this is incredible. And you got a great day.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day in Seattle, which could be hit or miss in June. So we are excited that it is 77 and the sun is shining.
Yeah, you know, one last thing I want to ask is, can you tell me a few of the statistics about this particular event that might make it stand out from other trail events?
Yeah, so the one biggest stat is that 66% of people are doing their first trail race ever. One of those are my daughter, who's 11 years old, who's running her first trail race today. And then I can't remember how many states, but it's literally coast to coast that we heated up the map.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right, I am here with Alison, Mariella, Désir, one of the co-directors, co-founders of this great event. Alison, can you just share with me a little bit about how you are feeling now that this is actually happening?
I am I don't even have a word for it, like ecstatic, inspired, happy to see all of these beautiful Black and brown people, all these allies, to hear our music on the trail. I don't think I've ever experienced that before.
Yeah, and so can you just describe to me a little bit about what the impetus was for this event, what the impetus was and what the result of like what has happened?
Yeah, so I've been a trail runner for years, and in all those years, I've attended races where the music hasn't been my music, the food hasn't been my food. I've been the only or one of the few, and then I've ended up in the marketing materials. I've had conversations with folks in the industry, other race directors, about why is it so hard for you to get us in the trails? And nobody had any good reason, nor did they try harder. And so I decided, I can do this. So Aaliyah and I linked up. 66% of people here today are running their first trail, and this is the most diverse trail running race I've ever seen. I mean, one of the most diverse races I've ever seen. So it is proof that it can happen, but you have to really make it happen. And it's clear that the will isn't there in the running industry, so that's why we're here.
Yeah. What are some of the comments that you've been hearing from people?
Man, people are blown away. They are so thankful. They've never experienced anything like this. They can't believe the food, the surprise shoes for first-time trail runners. The day is beautiful. Like, honestly, just so much love and joy. That's all I'm getting.
Yeah. Any last thoughts you want to share with me? I mean, like, I'm so overwhelmed by just what a great vibe is out here.
I know.
It's amazing.
It is, and I want to take this in and fully experience it, but I also am already thinking about what's next. And several people have come up to me wanting to partner, I don't want to make this bigger necessarily because I like the size and the vibe, but I've wanted to do more so it can make a bigger impact. So I'm excited. I'm taking this in and I'm ready for what's next.
And you know, one of the things I'm noticing as I see a lot of young people running around is how there's a lot here for the kids.
Yes.
And it's a very family-oriented event. And I'm wondering, like, was that an intention?
Absolutely. I mean, I have a son, he's 5 years old, and my son, whenever I go somewhere, my son becomes the people's son, right? I'm like, if you see him doing something he shouldn't do, then please tell him not to do that. If he's falling down a ravine, just grab his hand. And that's what I wanted. And I saw this little girl, she must have been 2. And I said, "Where's your mama?" And she said, "Mama?" And kids should feel free to wander in spaces like this. And that is what community is. You know, we're not being reckless with our children. We know that our community will take care of our children. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, they're safe.
Exactly. They got a million aunties and mamas out here.
All right, Alison, any last thoughts? Because, where are you headed?
I'm headed to the regional Emmys. My show Out and Back has been nominated for 2 Emmys. So in about 2 minutes, I'm going to change, wipe myself down, and head to the Emmys and hopefully come back with some hardware.
Fantastic. Congratulations on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, amazing.
All right, y'all, let's give it up. We just had another finish.
What it was all about. So can you start off by telling me what is your name, how far did you run, and where did you come from, and is this your first trail race?
I am Stacia Jones. I went one loop, so about 2 miles. This is my first trail race. So, yeah.
Yeah, and where did you come from today?
I am from Sammamish, Washington.
Okay, fantastic. So what inspired you to come out here today and try trail racing?
Well, one, I work for Lululemon, and so we're sponsoring this event. I love running. I've been running for about 20 years now, and running long distances has been my thing. I have not done a hike run before. I have multiple sclerosis, so it's very hard for me to do anything that's not level ground, but I was like, let me try to do it.
Okay.
And so I went ahead and tried.
And how was it? Like, what were some of your expectations going in, or thoughts about how it might be, and then how did it turn out?
Well, my expectations going in was just a little bit of fear because I didn't want to fall because my balance is way off because multiple sclerosis.
Yeah.
But it was great. There were a number of women who I've never met before. We just kind of came together and walked and talked and laughed. A number of people were running past us and we were cheering them on. So it was wonderful. That one loop, I probably could have done on 3 loops, quite frankly. But just doing that one loop and cheering people on, it was wonderful.
And before this event, like, what was your impression of trail racing? And is this similar to what you had an impression of, or different? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, trail racing, I remember I was in Arizona some years ago when I was climbing up or going up this mountain. And there were people who they looked like gazelles just running. I'm like, how are they doing that? This steep decline, and they were just running it. And so that's what I thought about it. And that is what it is. I mean, the trail today was not as difficult as what I saw in Arizona, but there's a lot of tree roots and a lot of things that you could fall over, but I just love humans because they're amazing. You can just see this people just flying through this over the tree roots and all of those things. So it's wonderful. It's quite inspiring to me. So
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on returning to the trails for another event at some point?
Oh, I most certainly can do that. I need to get some of those walking sticks to help me with my balance.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would ever run it. I don't know how safe that is for me, but walking it and walking at a fast pace, I most certainly will do that.
Yeah, and I'm curious, as a road runner and someone who has done long distances, like, for you, how is this experience different, like being in the trees and being in nature as opposed to being on the roads?
Well, it's much cooler being in the trees, and usually I will run by myself when I'm on flat ground, and so it's like listening to a lot of music. Out here where the Wi-Fi is horrible, I could not get my music, but it was fine because I was with some other people. But the nature, seeing the beauty is great, but it's definitely much more difficult when you're not on flat ground. I'm from Ohio, and I'm used to flying or running very flat.
Right. So, and just any last thoughts about, like, the event in general and what you're looking forward to for the rest of the day?
Yes, well, I'm super biased being from Lululemon. It has been a wonderful event. Lululemon puts on events like this, run events, wonderful, getting with communities, black communities and other run communities. It's an awesome thing. The music is live, the food is good, everybody seems happy, so it's wonderful. I'm here with my 75-year-old mother and my daughter, so after this we're going to go back home and just chill out.
Hang out. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
All right, y'all, let's give it up. We just had another big...
All right. I'm going to have you both introduce yourselves, if you will, and tell me where you came from today and also what distance you ran. We'll start here.
I'm Erin. I live in Seattle, Washington, so didn't come very far, and I ran one loop.
And was this your first trail race, or have you been at a trail race before?
First trail race.
Oh my goodness, we'll come back to that. And you?
My name's Olivia. I'm from Tacoma area, and first trail race.
All right, so what inspired you each to sign up?
Steph Flippin is my coach, and then this was a local one, and I just decided it was an easy one to get to and try something new.
All right, and you?
Oh, my good friend Erin got me into this. It sounded fun, and I'm game for trying new things, so thought we would try it.
So what were some of the maybe concerns or expectations before you came out, and then how was the experience itself? Did it meet your expectations? How did it turn out?
Good question. I'm always afraid of falling. Trails are scary to me, and I didn't really know how to pace it or anything, but it turned out, I still think it's super hard, but I'd do it again, so yeah.
So why would you do it again? What is it about today that is like, oh, I want to try this again?
It was hard, and it was good to see what I could push myself to do.
And I remember you making a comment about maybe being a little concerned about animals. And so I'm wondering, like, how did you process that and kind of overcome that fear?
I've been here before, so I was pretty certain there weren't going to be bears or cougars. It is near crow attack season, though, so I am concerned about the birds.
Okay.
I just am super vigilant. So I still worry about the animals, and I probably will never stop worrying about the animals.
Okay. All right, fair enough. And so, yeah, to you, the same question, not about the animals, but about, like, you know, expectations, and then, like, how did the day go?
Yeah, I too was definitely concerned about falling. Expectations-wise, I had no expectation, and it superseded my expectation somehow. Great community, great vibe. The music was awesome. It was really cool to have, you know, Lululemon here, Stretch 22 here. It was, and getting to meet different people from around the area, just chit-chatting with each other, and, hey, are you new to this? Yeah, me too. Oh, cool. So, yeah, it was fun. It was a community event for sure.
Yeah, and because it drew in so many first-timers, it was like, that was part of the vibe, is that it's like, oh, we're kind of all in this together, everyone. So any parting thoughts?
When's the next one?
Very, very nice. I think next year.
Yeah, we out where? Where are we next?
Thank you both so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, y'all, let's give it up. We just had another finish.
About how things went today. Let me turn this down a little bit. And I'll start out by asking you if you can tell me your name, where you came from, how far you ran, and is this your first trail run, or have you run on the trails before? And we'll start here.
Hi, yes, my name is Melinda. I am originally from Florida, and this is my first trail run, inspired by my sister. I have never did trail running before, and she was like, hey, I know Alison, this will be a great race. I was like, maybe, maybe. But after some really firm pushing from her, she suggested it. And it was actually really fun. Like, it was challenging because I've never done it before. That's the scary part. But the second loop, when you kind of have an idea of what you're facing, it kind of made it a little bit of a better run.
All right, so you did 2 loops.
Yeah, I did 2 loops, which is like 3 miles, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so your name, where you're from, all that.
Hi, I'm Sabine. I am from Savannah, Georgia. So when I saw that Alison was hosting that with Aaliyah, I was like, that's a no-brainer to come out here to run this race. My intention was to run 3 loops and do the 5.7 miles. But then I'm like, I'm here with my sister. She's doing her first ever trail race, so I'm not gonna leave her. So it was just like, I was telling her, I'm gonna not try to get emotional like I did when you finish some other races your first time, but like, just like introducing her to running and watching her fall in love with the running, and now introducing her to trail running, which I hope she also falls in love with. Like, for me, it makes my heart fun. This is what running's about. You find something you love and you bring others into the fold and teach them how to love it as well, and hope they love it.
Yeah, so this is not your first trail race.
No, not.
So can you tell me a little bit about how maybe this trail event is similar to or different from other events that you've been to?
I think the difference, I would say, is the energy level with this group, and the fact that some of the other trail races I have run on, I have been a minority and not a majority, so it's refreshing to be out here and to see so many runners of color and black runners out here just running a course, which was my #1 motivation. I want to be and run places where I feel welcomed and more invited, and I'm not scared and nervous. As in the trail, it was just as technical as any other trails I've done. There's hills and everything else, but I will definitely say it was more shaded and such a beautiful. She kept like turning around and I was gone, and she's like, "You were taking pictures, were you?" I was like, "Yes, I was. I was taking pictures," and I feel like the pictures don't do the trail.
Talking to myself, I'd be like, "Okay, we're gonna run at this tree," because like we walked the hills and ran the straight to the flat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, we're gonna walk this tree. And I start running, I look back, I'm like, she's taking pictures. She's like, and having the time of her life on that trail.
The location was perfect. Like, I just love it. I love the energy. And I'm like, okay, we're already doing this next year. If there's one next year, like we're signing up. It was definitely worth it, and I'm hoping to bring more people with me next time.
Oh, excellent, excellent. And did you travel from far away as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I traveled from Florida, met her in Savannah, and then we flew together. Well,
We kind of hopscotch.
we hopscotch.
Savannah to Kansas City.
We had a
Kansas
friend's
City
wedding.
here.
We have
Last
literally been
night.
up for like, what, 24 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, celebrated
Oh, wow.
a wedding last night. You know how that goes. Caught like a 5:30 flight to get here. And then when we got here, I was telling her, I was like, I want to sleep, but I'm like so like, it's like that. Yeah. You're like, I don't know what to expect, but I kind of can't wait to get out here. I know she was annoyed with me because like every 15 minutes I'm like, all right, let's go. Okay, let's go. And she's like, calm down.
I was gonna say, I would have never guessed that you were sleep deprived right now.
It's the energy. This is what running does. It just is the adrenaline rush, especially when you finish your first race. And like I said, just being here with so many other runners, like you just feel like you can let your guards down and just like really enjoy it, you know, and not be worried about a lot of things that you normally be worried about, like your safety and everything else. So it was lots of fun.
Good.
And to see her smiling on the course the whole entire way.
Yeah.
After the initial, quarter mile, she's like, what is this?
Yeah. The initial, it's like a giant hill. And while we're walking here, I'm like, what did you sign me up for? And she's like, it gets better. She's like, it gets better. And I'm like, oh, it better. Or I'm going to like roll down these shrubs. But it was great. I think for me, one thing I've always told her is like trail running is iffy because safety, right? Because like, especially as women running in a wooded area by yourself. And today I think that like completely erased like that for me because I'm just like everybody who's here and everybody who wasn't a part of the event, they're just all here just taking it in and enjoying it. So definitely plan on doing this again next year.
Excellent. Well, thank you both so much.
All right, y'all, let's give it up. We just had another finish.
This is Myrna Valerio. Can you tell me a little bit about what brought you out here today and like what were sort of your expectations and what was the experience like?
Yeah, sure. So I came here with Lululemon, and basically it was, hey, we need you out in Seattle this particular day for this trail festival, and at first I didn't really know what it was about because I just do what they tell me to do, and but then I found out it was a project that Alison Désir was involved in, and we know each other from New York. And I was like, anything that Alison does, I'm going to be a part of. And then, as the months went on, it developed more and more into this like incredible experience on the trails by and for people of color. And that's exactly what it's been. It is, the trails are beautiful, obviously, and we lucked out on a gorgeous weather here in Seattle. I brought it from Vermont, so
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I was able to be here with both people, new family, my real family over here, my Lululemon family, and it has just been a really good time, and I am so excited for the future of this event because there is no way that this can't happen again, right? It's got to happen here. It's got to happen all across the United States. I hope that Lululemon will sponsor it always because they're such a good company, and the things that they do are so aligned with what this community needs, and all the sponsors here. Anyway, so yeah, I had a great time. The trail is gorgeous. It's like runnable. You've got some features, and so like it's not boring. It was shaded most of the way. There's good music. There are good people out here, and there's going to be a party afterwards. I mean, like, what more can you ask?
And I know you have a lot of experience out at trail events and also like giving advice, or you've been somebody that people come to talk about how to diversify events. And I'm just kind of curious about like how this experience is similar, different, any thoughts around that? Yeah.
I'll have a lot to say about that. But the one thing I will say is I think this really has been the first event of its kind that has been organized expertly by people who are already in the trail running community, who are people of color, who have amazing connections with brands and organizations, and so they're able to pull it off. And it was done with the idea that we'd be taking care of everybody here at this race, whether you're a person of color or not. And that is very different from other experiences that I've been. People try. I work with a lot of different trail organizations, and they do really good work. But they're run by white men, and so that it's a different dynamic here.
Yes.
So I really appreciate this. I hope it explodes exponentially.
Yeah. Can you kind of describe the vibe for me, especially out on the trail? Like, I did not run the course. How far did you run today? And what was it like being out there in the event?
Yeah. So I did 3.5 miles, and with just 2 loops. I got a bike shoot tomorrow, so I was gonna burn my legs out. But it was appropriately rolling. The folks out there were some people walking, there were some people run walking. I was one of those people. There were people trotting, there were people going really fast. In my one lap, they did 4 laps. And that's, there was everybody, all types of paces, and nobody felt, in colloquial usage, no one felt some type of way because people were running fast or running slowly or not running at all. And that is very different, I think, from other events I've been at. Everyone was appreciated. Everyone felt like they belonged from my perspective, and everyone was included.
Yeah, and you said something last night at the live podcast event with Making Strides about and I'm not going to quote you exactly, but everybody deserves joy, or everybody should have the opportunity to have joy. And can you reflect a little bit on that with today?
Yeah. I mean, if you can hear the music in the background, that is the vibe, right? Whether you're out on the trail, whether you're a spectator, whether you did 1 lap, 2 laps, whether you're still out there, there is this feeling of joy of being together, joy of being able to move your body out on this trail, joy of belonging to a community that cares about you. They care how you feel while you're running, after you're running, if you're not running. That's the vibe. The vibe is one of family. Sometimes families fight, but this is one of those good family barbecues, right? Everything's going right. Uncle's at the barbecue doing his thing. The kids are running around. There are lots of kids here. It's very kid friendly.
Yeah.
And again, you don't always see that.
Yeah.
And everyone is welcome in whatever way, shape, or form they come.
Yeah. So one last question for you is, I know that you're a very popular presence, people know who you are, you get a lot of conversation from people coming up to you, and I'm just curious what the comments you're hearing from other people as you talk to them today.
Isn't this great? Isn't the trail great today? Isn't it beautiful weather? Because apparently y'all don't have beautiful weather here all the time. And as I said, I brought it, you're welcome. And everyone, every single person, I'm slow, so people would be like, nice work, and I'd be like, nice work back to you, great job, you got it. The entire time I was out there.
Yeah.
I gave that out to lots of people. They gave it out to me. Yeah, mama, let's go. And I felt supported, and I tried to support other people, and that was the vibe today, one of support, one of love.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
All right, y'all, let's give it up. We just had another finish.
All right, runners, I'm going to have you each introduce yourselves and let me know how far you ran and where you traveled from. And is this your first trail race? Are you experienced trail racer? Let me know.
I am Liz Anderson, and I traveled from Port Ludlow, Washington, and I ran the 1.9 mile loop. And I'm not an experienced trail racer, but it's not my first one.
And I'm Jackie Sue. I'm from Bothell, Washington, which is just like a 20-minute drive from here. I also ran the 1.9, and this is my first ever trail race.
Fantastic. And so what did you think, being your very first trail race? What was your impression? Well, what were you maybe expecting when you came out, and how did this experience meet your expectations or surprise you?
I've done a lot of road races. I ran recently my 200th 5K. I'm more of a 5K runner, and I had no expectations. My only expectation was not to fall, and I kind of expected it to be like a hike, and I just had to keep my eyes on the ground, and it was pretty tiring actually, just because when you're running a road race you're always looking ahead, but this one you had to keep your eyes down and your feet, you always had to avoid something, so it's a lot trickier. It's hard. 1.9 was enough.
Yeah, a lot of concentration. Like, you don't realize, I think, how much energy that can take.
Very much so. Yeah, it's tiring.
Yeah. And so, what was the experience like out there for you?
So I've done the Mount Rainier half, and that's half trail, half road, and it's not very technical. There's a lot of climb. This was very technical, and I fell for the first time. So, but I made it, and I finished.
Yeah. So, how is it falling? Because that can be a little bit jarring. But then you kind of also realize that, like, okay, I fell, I got back up.
Yep. And I just kept going. There's no blood. There's like ego, is tore a little bit, but that was the only thing that was hurt. So I'm good.
Well, and I'll tell you, one of the things that has happened to me when I've fallen is it's almost like this, I don't know, like this, it's part of the adventure.
Yes.
So
yeah, I have the wounds to prove it now, so it's a story to tell now, so I'm okay with it.
So, and I know that both of you said, like, you haven't done a lot of trail racing, but, like, what was your impression of sort of being at a trail race, and how did this particular event, like, meet those expectations or surprise you in any way? So
I think this was way different because it's so inclusive with the different lengths of the race, and then it just felt like more like a good group run than like everybody was competing against each other. So I love that about it. It just didn't feel super competitive. You could just talk to people while you're running, and it was a good time.
Yeah, cool.
It's very encouraging as well, because there were a couple times out there where I think the weather and just how hard it is, just slowing down, and people were very encouraging. And it's different too because you can't pass each other. I think, like you said, it's like a group run.
Yeah.
And you just, I was telling Liz, it's like almost trail, like you're riding horses. Because at points in time, the trail was really narrow. You can't really pass each other.
Yeah.
So you just got to go like in a trail. You just follow each other.
Yeah.
Caravan running.
There you go. Yes, it's caravan running.
You're kind of getting in a vibe with the people around you and just going with it, as opposed to like the racing mentality like you might see on the road.
Oh yeah, you can't really pass each other.
Yeah.
It's just too narrow.
Yeah.
So any last thoughts?
I love this event. I think if this happens again, I'll definitely come out, and I love the idea of getting more people out into the road, into the trail as well. So I'll definitely support the event. I think it's just a great thing, and hopefully we'll see it happen in more cities.
Yeah, that is the intention. All right. Yep. Go ahead.
It's great to see people of all colors and all shapes and sizes, and it's just like the diversity, I think, for me, just made this wonderful.
Yeah.
So
it got us out here. It got me out here.
Yeah.
It's very welcoming.
Yeah, so what was the impetus to sign up for this? Like, this is obviously not in your regular wheelhouse, so...
Because it was for beginners. It said it was especially for beginners.
Right.
And I'm like, that's me.
And Liz?
And for me, it was just about the diversity. I'm running with Native Women Run, and so Verna had a team going, and so it was about being here for the diversity and support.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Any last thoughts?
I'll be walking the trails.
Liz?
I'm good.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you both so much.
All right, y'all, let's give it up. We just had another finishing coming across that.
I'm just going to start by asking, can you introduce yourself? Where did you come from? How far did you run today? And is this your first trail run?
Oh, so I'm C1. I'm from Seattle, Washington, not very far. I ran 2 loops, and then I found some friends, and I spent time with them and walked the last one. So that was amazing. And I made a new friend. Yes.
Fantastic. And is this your first trail race?
No.
So, okay, I'm going to come back to that.
Hi, my name's Janelle Turner. I'm from the Seattle area. Drove here from Renton, my house. And this is my first run, actually, and I walked a couple loops and just had a great time. Good energy, amazing community, really supportive. I love the little stops along the way with folks cheering you on and amazing smiles. It's just a feel-good sort of environment, yeah.
So is this your first running event ever or your first trail running event?
First running event ever.
What inspired you to come out today then?
Well, a mutual friend of ours actually asked me, she just said, you should come check it out. And I said, oh, I don't really run. That's her right there, actually, Sayuri. And so I just okay, I'm not sure what to expect. I feel like I wasn't properly dressed.
You know what?
But, I felt really warm and, I walked and it was okay and lots of people walked and yeah, it was
fantastic. So this was not your first trail running event. So can you talk to me a little bit about how this was similar or different from other trail events you've been to?
I think that this was really special because it really embraced everyone. And this is not something that I see in other types of trail run events. However, I must say that for other trail run events, there's also the same vibe of community, but I love the inclusiveness of this.
So I'm curious, coming back to you, and we have the same last name, by the way.
Wow.
I was like, wow, that sounds so familiar.
Cousins.
Yeah, there you go. I'm curious, does this inspire you to want to do another running event or come back to the trails?
Absolutely. I've met a couple people that have invited me to different running events just, because of today, and I'm feeling inspired, and, it's a goal. If I can run 3 miles and hang with the women's group, I think it'd be neat to set that as a goal. So yeah, I'm totally inspired, and I think I just like the energy of the community too. When you're in different types of athletic settings, you get a different energy based on, how people kind of engage, and I think this was lovely. It's just really supportive and fun.
Yeah. Any last thoughts about the experience today, or how it leaves you feeling?
I love seeing kids here. I think that's one of my favorite parts, like getting them excited about being outside, being with people, being with family, and building community. So that's the best part of this.
Yeah, I love that. I would agree, and and you kind of mentioned it earlier, is that it feels well represented. It feels like there are people from various communities here coming together, melting pot rainbow, what the world should look like.
What the world does look like, but it gets segmented.
Exactly, yeah. But here's a microcosm of what I think a happy world where people support each other and are in a community together could be.
Yeah. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
All right, y'all, let's give it up. We just had another finish across the...
So I have with me Carolyn Sue and Stephanie Flippin of the Making Strides podcast. And can you both talk to me a little bit about what brought you out here and a little bit about last night? You had a live recording for your podcast. So Stephanie, do you want to start?
Sure, yeah. Well, I think Alison and Aaliyah, came to both of us and shared the event that they were putting together, the We Out Here Trail Fest. We had discussed the brainchild of that. I don't know when that was, Carolyn. Last year at sometime in 2024, and I was all in, so excited about it, and immediately just wanted to plan a sort of a adjunctive event that we could host a live panel just to elevate the work that Alison and Aaliyah put into race directing this race, and just chatting through why this race was so very needed, especially in a trail setting. So I wouldn't have missed it for the world, and was so grateful to be out here today and last night for our live show, just elevating 66% of the race were first-time trail runners, and that's just incredible and just so in alignment with my goals for the sport, just getting more people, regardless of body shape, size, race, all the things, just getting more people out onto the trails and having them feel safe and included in this space.
Yeah. Do you want to add a little bit about, a little bit more to that, Carolyn? What inspired you to want to participate in this?
for me, first of all, anything that Alison and Aaliyah, like put together, I was already like, oh, how can I support you? How can I support what you're doing? Because we're in alignment with bringing more people out to the running space, not just people in general, but obviously like more people who have been marginalized or like kind of like dismissed or told that we don't really belong in whatever category, people might use. But any way to support that, I am always already like eager and wanting to help. But also just, I think as someone who has shared and written so many stories of people who are runners of color and their experiences and challenges on the trails, made me appreciate and really like see the importance of a trail event that is focused and centered on BIPOC people and also first-timers and people who have felt either unwelcome or intimidated by this trail space, made to feel like they don't belong or they're not fast enough or that they don't belong. I felt like I was in total alignment with that, and I wanted to help support. And so it just worked out really well that we were able to come out here and not only, of course, like host a conversation, at a panel, but like to be able to participate. It was really, really special.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask about the participation part of it. How was it out there on the trails? Like, do you want to describe like what event you did and like how was it, and also just from a vibe standpoint, from the atmosphere standpoint?
Yeah, so I did the 2-hour option, and originally I had told Alison, like, of course I will come out for this. I also do not need to run it, though. I'm super happy to be behind the scenes and volunteer. I feel like that's also like a big part of what I do as well. But Alison really wanted me to race this race, and when I was out there, I just felt so much gratitude for the environment, and I kept thinking how fortunate I am to have my best friend Carolyn also sharing the race, like sharing loops with me. And then after Carolyn's race finished, like she was out there like handing me bottles, handing me my ice bandana. And then I just got to share the trails with so many of my athletes who I coach. I had 5 athletes running, and then I had like 6 or 7 volunteering at this race. Every loop, I had one of my athletes like spraying me down. It was so hot out there today. Hot for me coming from Colorado. And then just having my teammates like Myrna, Kayla. I had both of my managers here, Yuri Oswald from Goo Energy and Mike Krupicka from Lululemon. And I felt like I was just out there with my family. And there's just no better feeling than that. I found myself getting really emotional because I just so often don't have those types of race experiences. Of course, I have very positive race experiences, but they're just not, I never have an experience like this where all of my worlds collide in such a beautiful way. And just coming across the finish line with Verna Volker was also incredibly special. And I just had so much pride too for everyone who was out there. And yeah, I mean, I was getting emotional taking the group photos at the end because just seeing that many people of color on the trails is something that I have never seen ever in the almost like 2 decades that I've been doing this. So it's really, really means a lot.
You get me choked up. Carolyn, do you want to talk about your experience out there?
Yeah, so I ran the two loop option, which ended up being kind of around 4-ish miles. And it was my first time. It's my first time out here in the Pacific Northwest. The trails are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I mean, with just the different types of greenery and just the whole environment. It felt very magical. Actually, okay. It felt like I was in Jurassic Park, and I keep saying that. Like, it just feels that way, but like in a positive way. I guess in a positive way, however positive that can be. But yeah, but it was just really cool to be amongst so many people who are like BIPOC athletes, like what Steph was saying, and the route itself was accessible, but yet still fun with all the ups and downs. And there were some parts, like twists and turns, and it just felt really adventurous. And it was really cool to chat with the people around me. Because everyone just there was this sense that we're all here together, and there was no pressure of like, you're my competitor, or like, get out of my way, I'm trying to get this time or anything. It really was this like, hey, like, we out here kind of experience, you know? So.
Yeah.
I can add on to that too, because like personally, it's always difficult for me, I'll admit, to be on a start line of a race and like not want to run hard. Like that's just kind of inherently who I am. So I did that, but at the same time, I think what was really cool is that so many other people out there, I think it's just so important for them to see differing levels, and to see that like it's okay, no matter what pace you're running, that's totally fine. Yeah. But that like to have someone like a person of color like representing like faster paces, and like seeing themselves and like, oh, this is possible for me to keep like working at this and improve, I think is really important too. So yeah, I felt a lot of pride in that, and I had a lot of conversations about that with other runners, and that felt really special to me.
Well, thank you both so much.
All right, y'all, let's give it up. We just had another finish.
So I would just love to know if you can introduce yourself, and you can come in here too. Not the more the merrier. So I will ask you both, first introduce yourself, and where did you come from today? How far did you run, and is this your first trail event?
I'm Ashley. I live in Seattle, so it's a Seattle proper, so it took me about an hour to get here. And this is not my first trail, but I haven't done many trails. This is definitely my first trail that felt so welcoming out of the few trails that I've done.
Yeah, that was just what I was going to ask, is like, how is it similar or different from other events that you've been to? Can you kind of describe that a little bit?
Yeah, particularly as a woman of color, I've never been to a trail run where there's been this many people of color. And so to be part of the majority at a trail race is something I've never, ever seen. It just felt like we were at a picnic with some movement at a trail along with it.
Yeah. And over to you here, we got Verna Volker. How was it out there today, Verna?
It was good. It was hot, but like we finished it. It was good. Like, you know, it's nice to have a lot of people, women of color and people of color runners, because a lot of times the running space is mainly white, and so it just felt just a sense of safety. Just, you know, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, this belongs to us too. Like, we belong here as well.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
Yeah. Have you two met before?
I met her Take the Lead.
Take the Lead, yes. That's why I was like,
yes.
I feel like I met her.
We met at a Women of Color in running conference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic.
I had to think on it.
I know, me too. I was like, I know I've met her.
We've seen each other.
So can you describe just like the vibe out here today, and kind of how this whole event has struck you, like what your expectations were and like what you've experienced today?
Well, I know Alison, and I knew like what Alison was going to do was going to be fire. So it was just good. It was fun. Everyone was uplifting, and it was a blast. So it's kind of sad that it's ending, and we'll have to find more of these or start up our own. You know, that's what we have to do now. So
yeah.
I mean, the same. Like, it was just it was welcoming from the very start. There was so much energy. There was just so much joy. Like, people not only excited to be here, but excited to take on the trail, which can often be very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times you come to the race start, it's serious. People are really in their own zone. They're not talking to each other. There was so much engagement amongst people here. People who have never met each other. People who may have seen each other in spaces outside of running. I saw a few folks today that I did not think were going to be here because I've seen them in life, but not out on the roads or the trails, and so it was so fun.
Yeah.
And they felt like this was an accessible thing for them to try, and that's why I saw them here.
Yeah.
So that was really powerful to see people who I wouldn't have expected to be here because they felt like there was an invitation for them to come try it out.
Yeah.
We don't really have any other questions, but do you have like any parting comments?
I think, you know, as like runners who are, you know, people of color in this time, it's really important that we find community And that's how I think we're going to be together. And in this time right here in America, is we need each other, and that's what we'll have to continue doing. So
Yeah, just I mean, like kind of some hope, or just a path through. Is like community and getting together. Like this happened today in the midst of everything that's happening. So
Those were the best words.
Yeah, okay.
So that's all I have.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you both very much.
All right, y'all, let's give it up. We just had another finish.
So, you know what? Let's just talk to everybody here. Can you start off by telling me, what is your name? Where did you come from? How far did you run? And is this your first trail run? So we will start here.
Hi, my name is Tony. We came from Houston, Texas. This is our first trail run, and we did 2 loops today.
Oh my goodness. So is that the same all the way around here?
No, so I'm Keisha, and we did come from Houston, but we did 1 loop today.
Okay. And is this your first trail?
This is my first trail run.
All right.
I'm Christy. I also came from Houston, and I walked 1 loop and then ran the second loop in the very first trail run.
So what inspired you to change your pace?
I think we just really liked being out on the trail, and like we had the shade cover, so that helped with the sun not beating down on us, and just tried to enjoy the trail and the nature.
Yeah. All right, and on to you.
Hi, my name's Katrina. I also came from Houston, and I did the second lap with Christy, and it was beautiful. Happy to be here.
And your first trail run as well?
First trail run.
Oh my goodness. All right, we have a theme going here. All right, on to you.
Hi, I'm Elena. I did 1 loop today, and it is my first trail run.
And did you come from Houston as well?
I am from Houston with all of these lovely ladies.
Right, so all of you are together. Okay.
Hi, I'm Paige. I did 1 loop as well. A lot of them ended up walking with me because I twisted my ankle. So thankful to have them and have them do the run with me. So yeah.
How are you feeling now?
I feel fine. I feel fine.
Okay, so not a bad injury, just a little twist.
Yeah, just an annoyance at this point.
Okay. So a question for the crowd here is, what inspired you guys to come from Houston and to come to your very first trail event? Who wants to field this first? Okay.
It was my idea. We all met at a run club in Houston. Okay. And I figured they would probably be interested because we've had conversations in the past about doing a trail run. I'm originally from Anchorage, Alaska, so I had my eye out for doing different things, and they were all down to come and have this experience, and it's been awesome.
All right, so why this trail event?
I mean, it was geared towards Black people, and I think that's important. Black people, we are literally everywhere, and we deserve to be in these spaces, and everybody needs to know that these opportunities and these experiences are available for us.
So what was your thoughts about trail racing before this event, and what are your feelings about being here today? Who wants to take it?
I think this has been a great experience. It fostered the community feel that I think they were trying to set up with this event, and I know we definitely will try to come back and find some more. Definitely go to different trail runs because this was amazing.
Excellent. Anyone else want to chime in?
Well, I think for me, I just had it in my mind that trail running was like really hard, and so maybe not as accessible as this event proved that it was. And so this is definitely something that I feel like I could do. I don't know if it would take over like road racing for me, but this is definitely something I'd want to work in and do every once in a while. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, excellent. And
I'd say the same. I feel like nature is healing and running is healing, so the two together, just amazing experience. So I will definitely continue to trail run, and hopefully I see y'all again.
Thank you so much, all of you. And congratulations on your very first trail event. Enjoy the party. All right, thanks. That does bring us to the end of this special episode, reporting live from the inaugural We Out Here Trail Festival. A big thank you to all of the women who got on the mic and shared their experiences with me. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. And an enormous congratulations to Alison and Aaliyah on a total success of an event. What a
joyful day. I'm really, really excited to see what comes next. I'm going to provide some links to how you can learn more about the We Out Here Trail Festival that just happened. And also, please look to the show notes for how you can find the Making Strides podcast. I'm also going to put a link to the episodes of WRS that featured women that you heard in these interviews, specifically Carolyn Sue, Stephanie Flippen, Verna Volker, and Alison Mariella Désir. All right, that is going to do it for me for this week. Thank you so much for coming here and listening. I will be back next week with a regular episode of Women's Running Stories. And until then, I do wish you healthy, adventurous, and totally joyful strides forward. Women's running. Women's running stories.